So without further ado, because you're not here to see me, please give a round of applause to your Minnesota Twins! In keeping with the theme, you definitely not here to see me either. My name is Chris Adabay, and we want to thank everybody at KDHL for bringing us down here, and the folks here at Bashers, and I think we made sure we got some of those ribs on the bus with us today. But we're going to make the best use of our time as we possibly can. Really appreciate all of you guys being out here. I appreciate you letting us be out here with our bowling shoes too as we get started here today. So continue to enjoy all the food up there. We do have, I know, did you guys all sign in the drawing? All signed legibly, which is good. We're going to pull some prizes later. Toss them. We got some autograph balls with us and some other things. But really what we want to do is talk about baseball on a winter day. So let's get right to it. Kyle, you're up next on lane 10. Yeah, lane 10. We've got, with the 16-pound model ball here, how about a round of applause for Mr. Bert Blyleven? Right there in the middle, a round of applause for Mr. Kyle Gibson. And Glen Perkins with no ball at all. He's a closer. He just waits around until they throw him, and then when there's one pin left for the pickup of the spare, then he comes in and knocks that last one down. So we are just getting started on our caravan leg here today. We're going to be out all week, all over Minnesota, into Iowa, into Wisconsin, meeting Twins fans like you. And this is the longest running caravan in professional sports. And it's pretty cool because I would say over 4 legs, maybe like 16 to 20 people go out. And I don't think there's another leg in any sport that can claim 2 Hall of Famers amongst the guys who get on the bus. And we've got one of them with us here today in Bert, which is a pretty special deal. It's also nice to see the average median age in this room, because we were just at an elementary school and Bert sat in a rocking chair and all the little kids just asked who the old guy was that fell asleep under a blanket. So we're glad that we got some folks who probably saw Bert pitch here today.
Gonna be fun to watch. It's gonna be a really exciting summer. Obviously, you guys are out here for a reason, to talk to these guys. So if you have questions, get your hands up, and we'll just kind of go around the room. I can bring the mic if we need it, or we can just scream and yell. And what questions you might have for Bert, for Kyle, or for Glenn, as we have a chance to come out and hang out with you guys this morning. So who wants to break the ice? Or you all just waiting for us to leave so you can bowl? Yeah. All right, right back here.
I have a question for Bert. In all the years you spent in Minnesota, when you're on Coors Light, what the hell's wrong with grain belt?
Nothing wrong with grain belt. Actually, if you want to buy me a grain belt, I'll break that. You know what? I think we touched on Young-Ho Park. You have to look at what the Twins went out and got for, I think, a reasonable price. A guy from Korea that hit, I believe, 56 home runs last year, 53, drove in 156 runs. Now, is Korean baseball, what's a comparison to, baseball here in the States? And I was told it's kind of between AA and AAA, that type. But he hit 356. So it'll be fun to see him, how he's going to react to U.S. baseball, especially in spring training. He's going to have an interpreter. So we're going to probably talk on the same wavelength, me and him. Yeah, he'll be fun to watch. And, where do you play him? So right now he's going to be the designated hitter. That's why they want Miguel Sano to play an outfield. And I think Paul has said, it wasn't right where they had Miguel last year, as just the DH. This kid wants to play every day, and it's important. And, we're around these guys every day as far as, it's hard to find a guy that can just be a designated hitter at a young age. Billy Butler was that way with the Kansas City Royals because, they had a pretty good first baseman in Hosmer. But all in all, these young kids like Sano, they want to play. And I'm sure Park is also going to want to play a position. That way you can DH Joe Mauer. There's a lot of different things they can do with Park coming into the organization.
Another note on Miguel Sano. Terry Ryan told me just the other day that in spring training, his tutor in right field, learning to play right field, is going to be Torrey Hunter, who knows a thing or two about catching the ball out there. So maybe that will speed things along. Also, as you keep bringing Bert the drinks, you mentioned Trevor Plouffe just agreed over $7 million. So put that on Plouffe.
Yeah, put that on Trevor's wallet if you would, please.
We'll go ahead and get him to settle up.
I don't think not as much, and part of that is just the way the game's changed away from sack hunting and stealing bases and those things. I mean, it's there's a lot of stuff that goes into that with stealing and making it worth it, and we don't really have a team that's going to steal bases. You go around, the guys we talked about in our infield and our outfield aren't. There's not many. I mean, Buxton's going to get some bases. Rosario might get a few, but I mean, and maybe Dozier. I think Dozier dropped off a lot in that department too. But we're going to hit the ball. And not give away outs on the bases and not give away outs. Bunting, you end up just giving away outs. And so I think Molly realizes that a little more than Marty might have. And it works. It's kind of based on how your team is structured. We're not really structured to move a guy over. We're a little bit more structured. If we get a guy at base, let's hit a double and try to score that guy instead of just moving him to second or moving him over to third. Let's try to knock him in and try to score 3 runs an inning instead of scoring 1. So I think that's kind of how we'll play that. And Molly's good at working with what we have. He was great with that last year, getting a lot out of guys and getting more out of some guys than I think people expected. So that's more it with him is maximizing what we have, and he did a good job with that last year.
Let me ask you a question. I got a question for Kyle, only because being a former starter like Kyle is, and with all these shifts that are going on, all right, you all of a sudden, you don't have a third baseman. He's now playing short. You got the shortstop playing in short, second, Dozier's playing short right field. Are you on the mound? And the only people that moved for me was my outfielders. They went back when I pitched. With your infield and the shifts that they have, does that affect you as far as maybe when you get the ball back and you look to your right and there's nobody there?
I would say
you change your way of pitching.
I would say that I do not change my way of pitching. Joe Vavra, Joe and Molly both kind of handled the shifts this year, I think, and Gino did as well. They do a really good job of before each pitcher pitches, they kind of, they understand how I pitch, so they're not going to take and shift the entire infield because on all guys, they're just going to shift to the way that I'm going to pitch for ground balls. Mostly, I think it helps me because I think, especially with the lefty up, if they know that he's going to pull that ball on the ground, well, however many percentage of the time, he's going to hit it on the ground when I'm on the mound. So,
but you got a great sinker. That's your out pitch. Now you throw a sinker down and away in a lefty, and he hits a little squirter down the third base line. Aren't you going to be pissed that you don't have a third baseman?
It definitely happens, but I guess for me, it's just like trusting your scouting report. If you know that that's a bad example. If you know that any other guy actually who has a scouting report that you can get him out on, if you don't trust that scouting report and don't pitch to it, well then you're almost doing yourself a disservice. If you know that Chris Davis pulls 80% of the balls that he hits on the ground, if he pulls them, then you're almost doing yourself a disservice. Yeah, 20% of the time he's going to hit it the other way. But you got to take the chances that 8 out of 10 times it's going to be an out if you move those guys over. So yeah, it's tough when you get burned in those situations where they do hit the squibbler and it ends up being a double. But you just got to trust it and know that they're shifting to the way that I'm also going to pitch him as well.
TC, you just got booked for a birthday party, my friend. How old are you? 27? 4.5. 4.5? Okay, and when's the party?
June 3rd.
All right, June. We'll make sure the Twins are on the road, and we'll see if we can get them to show up. All right. Will there be honey? Will there be honey and salmon for TC?
Yes.
All right, I think it's a done deal. He's pretty easy.
It's 72 more days until my birthday.
Was TC coming to that one?
No, I don't want to. He's more than welcome.
He's more than welcome. All right, we're going to
Now, Paul Muller has been a coach for a long time, but general manager is a different thing because you're doing everything. Now, from last year to this year, do you see any new changes that he's going to do besides raising the urinal 6 inches?
I think you're under-evaluating how important that urinal move is.
You know, if you're a Paul Molitor fan, which I am, I faced him. I know what great a player he was. He adapted to the situations as well as any player I know I faced. But I think Paul's already said one thing that we're going to do in spring training, not the pitching side, but offensively, base running. They need to do a better job of base running as far as stealing bases and things like that. Of course, with all the shifts that are going on now, making sure that everybody knows exactly what they do in that shift position. So spring training, I think, is almost going to be regimented to where, you know, Paul's going to have more control, I think, than he did last year, because last year he was just kind of new to the job. He was just getting to know the personnel, even though he knew them, but now on a daily basis and having to communicate with everybody. So, guys, I would think that this spring training is really going to be isolated more on base running, which Paul was so good at.
I think when you get down to being as close as we were to the I think when you get down to being as close to the playoffs as we were, the difference in those 2 games are very small things. So that's why, you know, base running or small things in the shifts or, you know, small things from the pitching staff can make a big difference because, you know, just the 2 games, there's not much that you could have done. Well, there's only, let me see how I want to say this. You can make a big change in those 2 games by changing a couple things. And I think that's why, you know, focusing on the small details is going to be important.
On Bert.
Yes, sir.
Besides having a beer, what do you do before you announce the game?
Before I get drunk before the game, what do I do? Gotta make sure the camera's off. I've been caught many times doing bad things. But I do a lot of prep work. You know, I need to know not only the Minnesota Twins players, but also the opponents who they're playing. Our prep work, Dick and I have worked together now for, this will be our, I think, 22nd year together in the booth. I'm, again, going to do 100 games, and then Jack Morris and Roy Smalley will do the other combined 50 games that Fox will televise. But it's a lot of prep work. I get there about 3 o'clock. A lot of times when these guys hit early, not these guys, but when the Twins hit early, I'll come out early, and that's when I do a lot of talking to, say, Paul Molitor or the coaches or the players themselves. So it's a lot of prep work that goes into broadcasting a game. And then after, we enjoy the Twins game.